Laura Stegman, how you doing?
I am doing great. I am happy to be here and looking forward to our conversation. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for clearing the time on what is undoubtedly a busy schedule as we approach the launch of your debut novel. So huge congratulations on that. That's a
Thank
big
you.
deal.
Thank you.
Probably the best place usually to get started is I don't make people listen to me summarize their book or their biography because how terrible in either case. So probably the best spot to get started is if you would tell the esteemed audience a little bit of about your background or whatever we need to know Laura Stegman.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. I I grew up wanting to be an actress and intending to be an actress, and that was my goal. I have a degree in drama, and after college, I worked. I acted all the way through high school and college, but after I started to try to make a living at it, I decided that it wasn't really the kind of life that I wanted to live. So I started working, at a special events organization. And I discovered that I had a real aptitude for doing that. And I had a boss there who said to me, you should really learn to do publicity. And my parents are both publicists, or they were when they were working. And I was like, no, I would never want to do that. But you know how that goes. And I ended up my next job after that was in a PR firm. And I was really lucky because I worked for a woman who allowed me to learn as I went. And I learned everything I know doing that. So eventually I started my own business, and I typically handle publicity for arts clients, classical music, theater, predominantly. I've also done a lot of special events, and mostly for nonprofit organizations. And that's what I do. That's what I've done for my entire adult professional life. And I love being a publicist because I've been lucky enough to have a lot of really good clients. But about 20 years ago, I started. I was writing as a publicist, press releases and pitch letters, and of course the whole PR business has changed over those years. And I ended up working with a friend on a blog, kind of stories, and I really enjoyed doing that. And at that time, I'm not sure why at that time, but it just popped into my head that I wanted to write a novel. And of course it would be a middle grade novel, because middle grade literature, the stuff I read when I was a kid, I was still reading and I loved it. And I wanted to, write something that would make a kid today feel the way I felt about the middle grade books that I loved so much. So I started Summer of Luck back 20 years ago, and it's been a long journey.
20 years for Summer of Luck, from initial inception to the new version that releases. What's the release date?
September 15th, yes. Yeah, I didn't know anything about writing fiction back then. That's, why it took a long time. But I loved it. I loved the feeling I got when I was working on the book. It was like a joy for me, to everything that I used to feel about acting when I did that. And I would play a part, and I mostly did theater acting. I'd go on stage and I would be that character, and the audience is there, but you don't really see them, and you connect with them, and it's an exhilarating feeling. And that's how I was feeling when I was working on Summer of Luck. And it took me a couple of years probably to come up with the first version of it. And I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And, I had some agent contacts and I sent it off to them, and I was anticipating, fame and fortune. And, it was suggested that I keep working. And so I did. I never stopped trying to make it better. About I think about 8 years ago. I mean, of course, there were long stretches of time when I was busy with my profession and, or just life. And
so you didn't spend 20 years at a desk staring at your computer.
No. In fact, the first few versions of Summer of Luck were written on a yellow legal pad.